everybody doing? Yeah, excellent. Welcome to this wonderful session, I hope. My name, I forgot even a slide about myself. I've given up. I don't think anybody cares, but just in case you do, my name is Benjamin Nyland. I work at a company called ShareGate in Montreal. So if ever there's some weird expressions today, it's because I'm Canadian. It's all good. It's going to be okay. And on top of that, French-Canadian, the best kind. Oh, there's some French. Excellent. Or come on by, come say hi, come to our office, and we're more than happy to have you over anytime. So welcome to the session. The idea of this session was, as I saw communication sites grow, and as I saw modern SharePoint grow from originally the publishing sites that we're used to. If you come from SharePoint as a background, you've probably played with publishing sites. They're the classic version of a site that we managed to build intranets that we essentially use to communicate within the company. There's team sites, but that's not really what we would use for when we're trying to communicate. And instead of trying to modernize that site template, they came with a new one, and that was the communication sites. And with all the things happening today and the constant learning, the constant change in technology at the workplace, we started needing a different kind of training, a different kind of being able to consume content whenever we want, wherever we wanted. And when I saw communication sites, I thought, But first, let's begin with what is a communication site, just in case you've never seen it. This is essentially the communication site, or the modern SharePoint communication site. It's nice, it's responsive. I wanted to brag a little bit while we're here. At our company, this is the first time we've used the communication sites for an actual project back in early 2007. Our Christmas party every year is our company pays us all to go down south at a resort. And this time it was in Cancun, had a lot of fun. And it was in Club Med. And it's difficult because we wanted to know, okay, well, a lot of people have questions. Unfortunately for me, I'm quite comfortable with traveling. I've been doing this for too long. But a lot of people want to know in advance my flight information. What's the checklist? What should I pack? What should I not? What's the plan? What are the activities going to be? What are we going to be doing there? Who to contact? And with communication sites, you're able to very quickly build something like this. So before we even start talking about providing content for training via communication sites, it's important to note the power that they have to easily create content very quickly, very easily. How's everybody doing? Still a great moment? Excellent. So just a very, very quick tour, just to make sure that everybody is on the same page. That's actually my private communication site. We'll get back to that later. So you're in your SharePoint home, and we saw a ton of things being added to SharePoint these days. And nowadays, you have two choices. That's it. For people looking for a million options of templates or different site types, that's either you're in collab mode, or what Microsoft often categorizes as the inner loop. You probably have heard that before once or twice, right? Inner loop communication comes with a team site, because a team site is one of the products that's going to come amongst the products that help you collaborate with your team. Microsoft Teams, for example, the mailbox and the calendar, the SharePoint to store your content and view your content, Planner to get organized, and so on and so on. The other, more towards outer loop, alongside Yammer, will be the communication site, a way to turn around and communicate towards the rest of the company, or to your teams, or to your departments, but it does not come with an Office 365 group. So in this case, I just create a communication site, and you choose what they call now site designs, which are essentially what we used to call site templates. But we won't say that out loud too much, right? They're site designs, and they come with a lot of things. I don't know if you saw this morning's 9 a.m. session on site design and site scripts. Amazing session. If ever you have time, go back and watch that. There's a lot of things coming to change backgrounds, to change the header, put a footer, really make communication sites a thing that you can use every day in any organization and for any need. In this case, I'll select topic. I'll click on demo, another one, because I'm not very creative with names. Click on finish. And my site is going to be created. I'll do a very quick tour. Don't want to spend too much time on this. This is a communication site. It's responsive by default. That's the beauty of it. And you can easily create new content ranging from lists, libraries, which we're comfortable with, pages, but of course news posts as well. I've really enjoyed news posts, and when we're going to get to training, it's going to be something that's going to help you communicate updates as well to your communication site, to your training. So let's continue. You create a new page. You choose the page template you want to use, but you can always change that essentially after. You get your page template set up, and you use it to create content. You have web parts. This is a communication site. Hopefully everyone is on the same page now. And if you have any questions, we'll do them at the end of the session. I was going to say ask anytime, but then I'm like, no, let's wait at the end of the session. Internally, we've even used a hub site. A hub site is a new model that Microsoft has added that allows you to group and logically group together multiple sites. And I'm talking about all of this because it's going to be relevant when you want to set up that training environment. It's up to you, of course. The way I've used it internally is, okay, well, we have the product team, but inside of our company, we have multiple products, and we have multiple teams working on each of these products. Great. Each of them are in a loop mode. What does that mean? They're using team sites. They're using groups. They're using Microsoft Teams. Maybe they're using Power BI Workspace that is attached to all of that. But they're all over the place. And if I want to stay up to date with everything happening, that means I got to jump everywhere. I got to remember where they are. I got to go see if they posted a new news article. So instead, I'm like, okay, this isn't working. And on top of that, the product team is one thing, but we need to communicate with the rest of the company, right? Marketing needs to be aware of what's going on in the product. Sales needs to be aware of what's going on in the product, and so on. So I created a communication site that would help me push towards outside some of the things we're working on. Obviously, it's mostly in French. La montagne, the mountain, is really our strategy. It's our vision. This is where we're going, to align everyone. It's just a recap of the company's vision. Then I created the road that you see in the top right a little bit. That is the product's vision, the product strategy to get to that mountain. So it's just a page, but it helps people go back and see what is the vision, what is the strategy, both of the company and of the product team. Then I created some other pages, our game plan, the problems that our customers are facing. Below, you can barely see them, but there's news posts. So every 2 weeks, we have town halls in our organization where we share things. So as a recap, I put it on a news post, and at the end of a month, with all the news posts that we've created, there's an email digest feature. I select all my news posts that I want to email digest, send it, and I created a new newsletter inside of our company. So this is the notion of a communication site, but I wanted all of our collab, all of our little different teams to join to it, to be part of one place, to share the navigation, and to roll up the news, to push down the theme, and so on. So I've created that. And that's what they call the hub site. So I thought, all right, I think we can do something with this. I got comfortable with communication sites. I got comfortable with the hub. We started using it, the news post, and suddenly we're like, well, we need to train people. For us, it's training them on SharePoint, but there's also new employee onboarding. There's also a ton of other things that we need to train just people on every day. And of course, I could find an LMS, something robust that has all the features, but I wanted something simple. I didn't want to have to go through all the loops of trying to get that approved. I I think maybe we could do that with SharePoint and communication sites. That's not me, by the way. Just checking. Okay, I'm sharing this with you. Please don't laugh. But the reason I'm sharing this with you, it's me back in the day, no beard. It's a scary thing. But one of the things that worked really well when we did training back in the day was to do it in video capsules, was to provide some of the content in video. And today, with all the data that we've seen, we've noticed that this works a lot better, not only to do video training, but as much as possible to keep it in small capsules. The customer that I did this with, we did some testing. And when we did the training videos, an hour long, 1 or 2 video, we had like a 40% viewage success. That means people did not really view all the video. We took that same training and we cut it into little videos of never longer than 5 minutes. In the best world, 3 minutes. Because, hey, I got time for a 3-minute video. But when you're looking at a video and it says an hour, yeah, I'll put it, is there a save later button? I'll check it. I promise I'll do it. You tell yourself, never do it. So we did this. Sorry, guys. And it's in French.
Donc maintenant qu'on a fait notre introduction à SharePoint, on veut être capable d'accéder à tous ces sites. Vous allez avoir accès à plusieurs sites SharePoint, mais comment exactement allez-vous les retrouver et les garder à portée de main? Un des gros avantages à SharePoint, c'est qu'il est...
And what I want to share with you, I'm not going to do the whole video. I'm already shy enough with what just happened. But I thought it was interesting because it's very easy and cost-effective for you to do. Grab the phone, whichever phone, we're not going to do the debate, an Android or Windows phone or an iPhone or whatever other device that exists that I don't know about. We just took it. We took a green screen in those days, but I encourage you to just go behind a wall that looks nice. And we recorded a little intro and a little outro to every video, just to set the stage what that video was going to be about. Then we just recorded our screen. There's tons of tools that allow you to do that. Some of them are free, some of them you buy. There are tons and tons and tons for that. And it allows you to create these very small video capsules very easily, almost at no cost. You can, I think there's a package on Amazon for like $80 or $100 that comes with the green screen, with 2 lights, and a stand for your phone. There's some very affordable options. There's some more pro and advanced options. But you don't have to go and get the full, get those people, the consultants to come with a $500,000 budget for videos. You can if you want to. Those are going to be amazing. It's going to be like the Office video we watched during Jeff Teeper's keynote. But sometimes you could just put your phone, get the intro, record your screen, and get videos like this. Make sure the capsules are very, very, very short. Then we started, and I realized, hold on a second, we're doing the same mistake that we've done in the past. And I started looking, and all I was doing, and all we were doing, is forcing everything into SharePoint. So at first, I was doing everything in SharePoint with SharePoint things. And then I'm like, wait a second, Ben. That's the problem that we built with old SharePoint. We tortured it. We're like, yeah, I think you can fit in there. You can become a CRM. No, SharePoint's not a CRM. Don't turn it into a CRM. So as I moved into this exercise, I thought, hold on, this doesn't work. Office 365 now has a ton of products that are excellent at what they do. I'm not going to try and do a SharePoint video, right? I'm never going to do that. I'm going to use Stream and embed it into SharePoint. I'm not going to try and use a news feed inside of SharePoint. I'm going to use something else like Yammer, or have our conversations in Teams, or by email. I'll use something else. And what we did is, we started looking at all of our options, but instead, this is wrong. This is, once again, I think we're making a mistake. And for those of you, the amazing people that came to my session, at the end of the day yesterday, in the last 20 minutes when the bell rang, I talked about something called jobs to be done, where you focus not on yourself and not on your features and not the product that you can build, but rather what are people trying to live, what are they trying to do. You can download, it's a free book online, search for jobstobedone.org, I think, or something similar like that. A great read for the plane ride back, where it gives you a framework to focus on what are people trying to achieve when they're doing their training, what are they trying to achieve, what do they want to do, so that you can tailor the right experience for them. Don't build it because the new widget or the new web part is cool. That's a bad idea. So we started looking at all of the applications, and we went back to the drawing board. And since we're working as a team and we're getting things ready, that's an Office 365 group with a team site, with Microsoft Teams, and with a planner. So we can start looking at using planner not to go, a lot of the times we look at planner and we're looking at to do, then you move it along to doing, then you move it along to done. But planner can also be a way to just organize yourself, plan. And so we started looking at what are the roles. This is not the real planner, just redid it for the demo. Well, we're going to have end users. We're going to have power users. We're going to have group admins. We're going to have site collection admins. Whatever roles we can have. In this case, they're tied to because I'm doing a SharePoint training, so the role inside the SharePoint training that I have, I have end users, and I'm going to have power users, and I'm going to have group admins. So I'm going to have to make sure that my experiences, the trainings that I provide, they match for these different roles. Essentially, what I'm building here is my metadata for the future, right? But also the journeys that I'm preparing for my end user, my customer. Because as IT, I have to even switch myself to a product role. I'm selling to my customer a product, and they have to buy it. Otherwise, they'll go buy something else. In today's day and age, that's the truth. They'll just go and get it online. You are competing with other ITs, they're called products. Then I created the trainings. What are the different trainings that we want to have? Group ownership, basics 101, that probably everyone's going to have, advanced content management, automating your business processes, and then some checklists, things that we have to go through to make sure that that's going to be okay. So whether it's for a new user, returning user, how are we going to track the progress, what are we going to need to do to make sure that all of that works together? And then we started going through the products that we need at the end. What products can we use to get this done? Not, I got SharePoint, now let's do a training. I got you in the title of the session, right? It's not to start with SharePoint and then try and make it fit into a training. It's what are you trying to achieve and then what products are going to fit into it. And you'd be surprised what we can do today, especially, I'm getting goosebumps, especially with Microsoft Flow. Because Microsoft Flow is not a SharePoint workflow that does SharePoint things. It automates everything across your organization. So I started looking at ideas, and we thought, I don't know if I should be switching to demo right away. I'll do it in a few seconds, but if I'm using Microsoft Teams, I create a team, create our channels, and our team is the training preparation or the training team. And of course, we have our conversations, we have our tabs, we have our files. This is where we're working. But I also wanted to leverage it for when people need to ask for help in their training. And in Microsoft Teams, what you can do is get the email address for an individual channel. When you're in Microsoft Teams, you have channels within your team, the general channel. I created an extra one. Help. Training help. Whatever you want to call it. And you get an email address for it. Anyone in your company can send to that email address, and it goes directly into the tool that you use on a daily basis to communicate within that project. So you see it instantly, and you can reply to it. Another option is not to use Microsoft Teams, because your Office 365 group doesn't really use Microsoft Teams for whatever reason. Then you use the email address of your Office 365 group. I got this example because at the office, our data team works exactly like that. They have an Office 365 group, but they created via Power BI workspace. Every time us, people that don't belong in that Office 365 group, need to ask them a question, we don't join the group and say, hey, what's going on? We don't belong to that group. We email their Outlook mailbox email address that belong to their group, and they have a conversation with us. In Microsoft Teams, they're chatting amongst themselves. They have connectors. And in the SharePoint file or content service that they have, they share their PowerPoint, their reports, their videos, and they share it with the rest of us. And that's where I went, and I thought, okay, interesting. We'll use that this way. Yammer. Yammer is the outer loop, communicating outside, wins. It's all about that. So yes, we have the classic examples of the CEO sharing something. Another goosebumps moment. By leveraging Microsoft Flow, or any other ways, just by adding the Yammer comments directly into your training. But the one I wanted to use it for was the reward aspect. I just did the training. When the training is done, and we're going to talk about how you can train or follow the training that makes sure people have gone through the different steps. Well, one of the ways is once that's done, once you know they've completed a specific chapter of your training, automate a post into Yammer with a kudos. Everybody joins in. Yeah, congrats, you finished the training. Because otherwise, you know what happened? I have a bunch of people in the company, I have no idea they finished the training. They feel like they never really accomplished, nobody really cared. It's like, did you do the SharePoint training? Yeah, okay, cool. Now let's put it to the company. And Yammer's great for that. And lastly, there's two others. Forms. I discovered forms a lot more by building this training center. I discovered that there's also a very big difference. I'm going a little bit too much into these slides, but there's a difference between creating a questionnaire or a form and building a quiz in Microsoft Forms. And when you build a quiz, you can actually say how many points each of the answers are worth. And after the person filled out the quiz, they know whether or not they passed. It's built in, guys. So let's not try and build it with a SharePoint list and columns and a view. You have it already. It's called Forms. And SharePoint and the communication site is only a place where you bring them all together and create a flow. And not a Microsoft flow, just a flow of things for people, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3. So what we started doing, what was the order of each training? What was the best medium for that training? What would create for the training? What is the time it takes to complete it? Which parts of training would be best? How would we test each of them? We went through all of these, and we went and started building the training. So first, let's go into some of these options. Let's go back to SharePoint. Let's go from scratch. And I don't know if you're going to discover something pretty cool here, but I think you will. So we go into our SharePoint communication site. Of course, now the Wi-Fi is doing its thing. All right. While it loads, we'll let it load. While it loads, I'll go into the one I was going to show you at the complete end of the entire session, just because. So here's the example that a colleague of mine that's in the room has built of a communication site that's used for the training. The idea is also to make sure that you use appropriate images while you're building it, so people can follow along and it makes sense. You have your checklist, or chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, so people know how to follow their training in what order. And when they go inside of one, of course, this is going to be the same Wi-Fi problem probably. All right, let's choose something else. Don't look at the demo Wi-Fi. I should have done that. Don't look at the password, guys. I'll give it 2 seconds, and worst case, we'll just come back to it. Oh, this is good. There we go. All right, we'll just go back, and if that doesn't work, demo Wi-Fi. Don't look at the password. There we go. So what I wanted to build is to make sure that we go into stream, to make sure we go into create those videos. And here you have the sage for the training, where people can follow along and understand who's the IT admin in this scenario, what's his name, what are we going to use, who's the IT team manager in this training, what's the name, what are we going to use. Obviously, I'm not going to give you a training on how to create a training. You need some advice or guidance on it. We created a scenario, which is basically create a site collection, create a site, and then we said, all right, let's go to the next chapter, which very basic. The SharePoint communication aspect of this is not the important part. The important part is all the training that you create alongside of it. For example, for the SharePoint 101, as soon as it finishes loading, apologize for the Wi-Fi speed here, but we have the videos in Stream. The value that you have in using Stream is that the videos are automatically indexed. So people can search the transcript, go to the right part of the video, which you may have seen in this week. You can actually see the auto-close captioning automatically. We have an images that uses another tool that's not even part of the Office suite in this space. And I can see every component of a SharePoint site because, again, this is a SharePoint training. I want to understand what a content type is. So I click it. I have the details of a content type. I just wanted to provide the right training for our end users. Where do we begin? You embed PowerPoint directly in it. You don't just link people to a document library. You embed the PowerPoint directly inside of the communication site. So when you're building a communication site to provide training, it's once again not about the communication site, but all the products being brought together in one streamlined experience. I'm not going to go through the PowerPoint, of course, an exercise that people can follow, and when they're done, next chapter. And as we set that up, which is what I wanted to do here, we got to a point where, well, across the different exercises that we're going to do, we're going to need to make sure that we can gather a moment where we know they followed the training. To track, right? That's an important part of training. Not just through the analytics of the video, not just because SharePoint added views and you can see who viewed your document. No, I needed to actually track whether or not this was followed. So people will move along, and this is forms.office.com. We bring in all the tools that are expert at what they do, and we provide one experience for training. What site template should they use? For Michelle, I didn't even read the scenario, team site, submit, and now I know that that person has followed the experience. What I'm going to do is switch back here, and we're going to create one from scratch. Communication site, training, SharePoint, finish. So the next thing that I would want to do is, as I mentioned earlier, we go to Microsoft Teams. We can go to a channel, created a fake one, help, and get the email address. It generates an email address for that specific channel that I can copy and I can place directly in my SharePoint environment. However, you cannot put any other than HTTP hyperlinks in these tiles. So for this, I'll have to go in my regular text, add a hyperlink, and use the mail to put the link. Obviously, if I had a whole day workshop with you guys, we would go step by step and we'd do some amazing things, but contact help for training. Save. Publish. So what's going to happen is if we click on that, email is going to open up to email, but it's going to go to Microsoft Teams. As we continue to create, I want to create pages for this training. Each page is going to gather the information from the different training that we want to build. But for that, we want to make sure that we have the metadata. So you're going to have to come to the document library that hosts your SharePoint pages, And this is where you're going to assign, well, this is going to be a column for training, and we're going to provide choice, and it's going to be basics, 101 training. It's going to be site ownership or power user, so that you can roll them up later on. You can do the same thing with roles. I actually mixed the training and the role in that column. Same thing with the choice column here, role, and here you will have end user and power user and admin, for example. Save. Recently, Microsoft added the page details directly into the page. So what you can do is you create your pages, a home, new page, layout once again. And what we can do, I'm going to go a little bit faster here by copy-pasting something I've already prepared. I'll go on my desktop, and I have a document, Basics of SharePoint. Now, I don't know if you guys realize this. There's images in my document. Right? Copy, paste, and the images, one of them didn't work, but the images follow directly. Oh. So what happens, I wish I built SharePoint, but thank you. So what happens now is, if you go on the internet, if you find a web page with images, you can copy-paste directly. You go into your Word document, you put all of the images exactly the way you want. You create tables, you organize everything, copy-paste. The image gets automatically uploaded into a secret folder inside a document library called Site Assets, under a folder with the name of your page, and it gets dropped there. You can just copy-paste without having to say, I got to go do the images, upload one by one. Once I'm done, I thought, I need to make sure that people can create or do the quiz for this exercise, for this training. Go, and I used to do this, and this is a mistake actually today. I would click on Microsoft Forms, and then it would ask me, do you want to create a new form that you're going to embed in your page here so that people can do the quiz? However, what I realized is that if I click on that, it creates a form, like it says. But it's not what I want when I'm creating this training. Instead, what I want, delete, is I want to go to forms.com, forms.office.com, log in, and instead of creating a form, I'll do the exact same thing, and I'll create a quiz. When you create a quiz, I don't know, training 1 exercise or quiz. You add your question. I want a choice question. What is the default, I don't know, site? That makes no sense. Team site. Option 2, communication site. Right? And I can give it points, 4. You have some settings that you can change here at the top. People accept responses, one response per person, record their name. You can also make it anonymous, and you can show the results automatically at the end. Done, share. We're going to embed this, got the code, go back to my SharePoint page, and get the embed web part here. And paste. Publish. Because I don't have a title, training 1, publish. Okay. Reload the page. So normally, it would directly display the quiz. I think there's a little authentication issue here where it needs me to click to go to the form. But typically speaking, it would be directly embedded in your SharePoint page, like you saw earlier in the other page that I demonstrated. People can fill out the questionnaire. So the default one is team site, submit, and you can view the results immediately after. What the results are going to show you is what was the right answer and how many points you lost because of it. So it allows you to create in SharePoint the streamlined training. Now, of course, there's a lot of work that goes into this. you're going to have to, after you have created all of your pages, let's say I create a second one very quickly, go and paste from the second page, the governance plan, for example. Take all of this, go here, and paste this content. I can even add the page details as soon as I find it. Page properties here. So all the properties we created earlier, like training and role, can be added. Publish. I always forget the title. Governance, training. Publish. And now, if ever I change the properties of this page, so if I go into the document library and I see this, not share, but this one, I can see the properties and I can add, this is a Basics 101, this is for power users. The next time I go to the page, we're going to see the properties here as well displayed. So the user can see what it's tagged with, but it also allows you to roll it up on the home page. So when you're on the home page and you're creating the training center, the training home, this is where you want to be able to add the document library preview, go to your document library of site pages, and then you can easily say, what I want is to group by training. Then you can add it again, and you want to group by something else, by role. And once again, and group by, once again, by another type of training. This allows people to come and get the training that they need based on their role or based on the training path or the learning path that they're on. All right. Once you're done, you can come to the training that we just saw earlier, where people can go across their different chapters. They can go across their different trainings, go into this, watch the videos, track the videos there. But what I really, really enjoyed, let me go back. I don't have that much time left. So I learned that quiz and form was very different, and what I really wanted to use in this scenario was quizzes. And if I had the time, what I would want to do is obviously go ahead and make the entire branding and design around all of this with the new adjustments that the Microsoft has added this week, with footers, with headers, and with different background colors, with everything that we can do to make the communication site even more compelling, is to start looking at how do they start the training and how do we make sure that they're in the training every day. And there's an example there using Microsoft Flow. As soon as one of the responses in Microsoft Form is added, as soon as there's one response, or submitted rather, you can start automating something. And if I had the time, I mean even at the office, it would be as soon as someone starts the training, I hop them on a path, what we call email drips. Every day or every 2 days, you drop them an email with a different path to go through or a different training to start. And I'll know where they are at because every time they fill out a quiz, I know where they're at in their story. So when I'm going to send an email for them to continue their training, I know exactly which one to recommend. In an ideal world, I'll even use Power Apps. And once again, it's not just to get tools going. It's just a better tool for this situation. It allows me to create a form that is also a mobile application that they will register for the training, and that will kick off the Microsoft Flow that will send the email with the right pointer to the communication site to the right location. They continue doing their chapters, they continue doing their training, and what do they get? I get an automatically updated tracking list that tells me exactly where they are at so that I can send the correct and appropriate follow-up. Everybody still doing okay? All right. So that created the training that we wanted to create, chapter by chapter, videos so that people can go and view them directly whenever they want on their mobile devices using the mobile app, not necessarily going to the SharePoint communication site. then we're able to create the entire path with quizzes so that we can track everyone's training. Today, when people need to when people need to follow the SharePoint training at the office, I know that they followed it with simple little add-ons using Microsoft Form as exercises. And at the end, we can communicate it to show a reward, to show an accomplishment in the global Yammer network for the company. We're a smaller company. We're about 250 people, so it's okay to post it there. Otherwise, it may go to a specific group. So that was the quiz. Eventually, I thought, well, hold on a second. Can we make this automated? Can we repeat this a little bit? And that's where site designs come in. Site designs, they're not about the look and feel. That's one aspect of it. It's about the site scripts that go inside of a site design. It allows you to completely automate the process of creation. So it creates the site and then automatically creates things in it. Lists, libraries, pages with the web parts, everything you want on top of it. I'm not a developer though. How was I going to create a site design? Now, this morning they made an announcement where you can automatically create a site design script by first creating the site, and then the script will be created based on the template, essentially, that you've created. I wish I had that already. I don't, so I looked up online, and then there's this amazing person that contributed a project that allows you to create what he calls a site design studio. It's free. It's part of the PNP group, Patterns and Practices, that are community-based. And basically what it does is it creates a page in your site called the Site Design Studio, and it allows you to easily create site designs and easily create site scripts. So you press on a button, and then it says, what do you want to do? I want to add a list with these columns, and it generates the site design for you. Microsoft has that version of a flat world connected by hubs. So I started looking at, well, why don't we have the hub of training? And every time we want to create a new type of training, instead of making a mega heavy-duty site that's complicated to navigate, that goes everywhere, that has 2,000 pages, metadata, content types, instead, we just built some communication sites using a site design that generates the pages, the metadata that we want for training, the pages that rolls up the content, the forms that can get added, though that's a little bit more tricky, the flows that go with it. And so we can join into a hub called the Training Center that has the navigation that allows you to go to whatever training communication site that you want. And one Office 365 group for the inner loop, that is the people that organize the training, the people that work the training, that get the help via the Outlook mailbox or the channel in Teams, that automate these processes, and I follow it via connectors that push. Every time there was a new forms, they push it directly into their teams. Oh, Joe, I just finished this training. Oh, nice. And it goes to Yammer. Congrats, kudos. So it was a little bit trickier to automate this. I'll be very honest with you, I cannot yet automate that whole process. I can create a site design, I can get a shell of a training site in the way that we kind of showed it, but there's certain things that I still cannot include as part of the site design process. You may have developers that can push it a little bit further. I encourage you to check it out. There's tons of things that they've added this week just for that. I think Office 365 is letting us build more and more incredible things out of the box. It's been more and more and more recurring scenarios where I just didn't need to go buy a product. I was able to quickly create this by using Stream, by using Yammer, by using Teams, by using communication site. And my biggest discovery through all of this is working with Flow and Forms together to provide that tracking progress that I needed to have. Folks, I know it's hard to go into a training center in just 45 minutes. If anything, I hope it gave you an idea of how you can build it yourself. It's relatively easy. Most of the effort that you're going to have is in the quality of the images you're going to provide. But hey, now you can copy and paste directly from Word. And 2, it's going to be in the design that you're going to make with that site. The time you will invest in making sure the paths for end users are as easy as possible and as beautiful as possible. Folks, thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Now, I have a little quick favor. I think somebody in the room is trying to do something for their office. They're trying to launch something for the digital workplace, and you wanted to just film a quick video of what?
Yeah, do you mind if you, I had a challenge for my team to get as many people to say, go to digital workplace. Would you mind being part of it? If I just do a quick video with everybody in the room, is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. 1, you ready?
Oh, no, hang on. Sorry. Sorry, bear with me. Okay, after 3. So, 3. 3, 2, 1.
Go digital workplace.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Thanks very much.
Do what I can.
That's great.
Yeah, no problem.
Great.